bilking. Okay? Entubado is made where basically you lay 2 binders down on the tabla. He doesn't have 2 binders on the tabla. Normally he would take 1 binder like this, and he would take another binder and he would lay it across like that. And then he takes the tobacco, he rolls it in tubes in his hands, he then takes the tube tobacco, puts in tight tubes, and he then rolls that in over 2 binders. That would be the traditional Cuban style entubado. Estorado would be the same thing, sometimes only 1 binder down the table, but the big difference is, instead of moving the tobacco, you would take the tobacco in his hand, and he would fold it back and forth in an accordion methodology. Left to right, right to left, like a Chinese handstand. That's estorado. That is a more Caribbean technique, okay? Both of those, in my opinion, are acceptable ways to hand make a cigar. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages, which I'll get to. The third methodology in which a handmade cigar is made is called booking. Booking is where you take all of the filler leaves, you lay them all on top of one another, plancha, and then you simply take them, you fold them over on one another, you fold the whole thing back over again, and then you roll it in a single binder. Booking, in my opinion, is a very lazy way to make a cigar. It's simply not a good method. Now, entubado, the concept behind it is that it provides really clear air channels through the cigar. My problem with entubado is because the leaves are in real tight tubes, they don't have the capacity to always put physical contact with one another. There's not a lot of surface area of one tobacco makes the surface area of another tobacco because they're rolled in tight tubes. So when you have tobaccos that burn at a different rate, which is the case for almost all tobaccos, you get a cigar that'll tend to tunnel sometimes, or you get a cigar that tends to spike. Okay? Another reason for me that I don't think that entubado is a perfect method of making a cigar is because it's very easy that when you're rotating the bunches in the press, when they pull these cigars on the bunch, they pick it up to rotate it, they rotate it 90 degrees and they put it back in. If they don't put exact pressure straight down, it's very easy to twist a little bit of pressure left to right, and that'll cause a twist of the bunch, which can dramatically affect the draw on the cigar. Estorado, in my opinion, is a better way of making a cigar because you do end up with a lot of physical contact with the individual leaves. More butted against one another, more surface contact. The problem with that though is because it's flatter, the way the tobacco is folded, it doesn't give you clear air channel. The way we roll all in the Havana, the way we roll all undercut, the way we roll with the Herrera strike, is a method of escobar. It's a totally invented word, okay? It's what we do here at our factory. It's one of the things that does make our style of punching different than the other factories. It all begins, and I'm going to let Johnny is one of our best punchers in the factory. I'm going to let him finish this punch, and then I'm going to explain it to you as it starts over again. So basically, the idea is to take what I think are the strengths of entubado and estorado and try to combine them into one single bite. That's being extra slow because I want him to hurry up. It begins with laying 1 binder on the tablet, not 2. Okay? Now, when he lays the 1 binder, he just simply stretches it. The next step is to do what we call base. He takes a separate leaf in his hand. Okay, you see him doing this now. He kind of folds it over once, over onto itself, and then he'll fold it back again. He's trying to create a platform in his left hand through the bunch shot. Now, somebody like Don Pepino, when he tears our cigars apart, he says we're doing it the right way because we're using 2 binders. What he doesn't know is, no, we're not using 2 binders. It just looks that way when he tears the cigar apart. Okay? Because that base ends up looking like it was another binder. We're using it in that way, but we're not using a binder leaf. What we're doing is we're actually using a piece of Saka as that base to serve as the base of the blend. And then what he's doing is he then individually does tubes for the tobacco that goes in the filler. I have him do those tubes in a very lazy entubado method. Now they roll like a tight tube, I have him roll a very lazy, wide tube. And you saw that while he was winding, he was making it a big, lazy tube. And then those lazy tubes then get put inside the bassa. And then the last thing he does is he breaks off from the long fillers, okay? He takes those broken pieces of tobacco that he broke off, and then takes that, and by the feel in his hand, he decides where the cigar needs more tobacco. He individually, on a case-by-case basis, lays that backfill into the cigar, okay? So if you were to tear apart any of our handmade premiums, like a Lima Privada, we're going to find short pieces of tobacco in there. When we talk to a manufacturer who's admitted who's making all the cigars on Lieberman, you're going to say, look, they're using cheap broken tobacco in this cigar. What I would say is no, they're lazy, they're using a machine to make these cigars. And what we're doing is we're actually giving up to the ranchero by the feel in his hand to decide where that cigar needs a little more filler than in other places. And he's using it on an individual case-to-case basis. So what you're going to end up seeing is some cigars need backfills, there'll be a lot of backfills. Other cigars need backfills that won't do as much backfill. It depends on how the punch feels in his hand. We call this method escujado. We're still getting the tube in, but they're lazier, and we're getting a lot more surface contact between the leaf. And that's how we lunch cigars here at Drew Estate. It's one of the reasons why we believe that our draw is significantly better than most of the other companies' draw. The downside of that is it requires a ranchero who actually gets to make a decision on a case-by-case basis as to what to actually do to make the cigar right. You're putting a lot of your faith in what he does. They're all escujado.